Hey guys, how's it going? It's Etanios here. Welcome to this video on why Hockey Legacy Manager 24 is a better game than NHL 24, especially when it comes to a GM mode, whether it be franchise mode or franchise hockey manager, or any of those other game modes that provide a GM perspective and a career as far as managing a team. So, let's get into it. We've got 13 different things that add towards why this game is just so much better than everything else. And just before we get into it, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed this video and it actually leads you to go check out Hockey Legacy Manager. So starting off with the first thing that makes this game better, and you might have noticed it in the intro, is that there is a history mode, meaning you can go back. This is something that is drastically missing from NHL 24, where other games like NBA 2K24 have it. And you can go back and you can start a career in any of these decades. You can't do the 90s necessarily or the 70s, but like you still get to play through those if you start in one of these eras. You can even start as far back as the beginning of the league in 1917. So this is a fabulous game mode, and you might actually, I'll show you a save that actually has, like you can see, June 24th, 2017. History modes will literally allow you to go in and rewrite history. As you can see, Tomas Hertl is in on the Edmonton Oilers here. We drafted him 12th overall in 2012, right? So like there are tons of different ways that you can change this game mode, that you can see players develop differently. Draisaitl's only an elite player. Meanwhile, we've gone and found other players. Like you can literally rewrite history with history mode, and it is absolutely fantastic. The next aspect that makes Hockey Legacy Manager so much better than NHL 24 is the roster editing abilities. You can literally go in, create any player a lot quicker as well than NHL 24. You can even edit staff, you can edit teams, you can make new teams. As far as if we go into Team Editor, you can actually go to create a team. There's tons of different options as far as how many teams you can go through. You can see all the created teams, like in here we got the Houston Coyotes. If I want to edit Houston, you can see the numbers we have retired. You can upload any logo you want for the team, so there's customizable logos. As long as you have an actual photo editor, whether it be Photoshop or something else, you can pretty much make any logo in any team that you want in this game, making it just so much better. As far as rosters go too, you won't be able to do full roster editing in community rosters until you've actually bought the pro version, but we'll get to that in a little bit. The third amazing part of this game is it will allow you to create expansion drafts and expansions within the league in your current save. So if you want to expand in one save and you don't want to do it in another, you can do that. You can literally go to teams and you can go to an expansion draft and create a new team and add a new team to your league if you feel like doing so. You can do this multiple times, which could create a prolonged franchise mode save. If you're trying to win with every team, you can just keep expanding the league out, which would make for a very fun and prolonged save. The fourth thing that makes this game amazing is that you can go in and change teams anytime you want. You're not limited to an actual owner mode and having to wait until your contract runs out. You can literally just go and change teams on the fly whenever you want, which makes this game so much more immersive and so much more fun, again, for those journeyman style saves or saves where you're following a certain player's career. So definitely another bonus to this game. The next section that makes Hockey Legacy Manager so much better than NHL 24 is the tracking capabilities within this game mode. So when I talk tracking, I'm talking histories as far as whether it be trade history. You can go through and see every single trade that has happened since the start of whatever year you started playing. So if we go back to 2010 in this Oilers history save, you can see all the trades that were made that year. You can go through and do every single year. You can sort by every single team, so you can see the Oilers traded for McDavid in this draft because I believe that was the McDavid pick. So we traded a top-end player that turned out to be Mitch Marner and another elite player in exchange for Connor McDavid. So that, as far as trade history goes, is fabulous. It goes even further, though, because we also have draft history. Draft history is fabulous as far as you can go by each decade and see where players were taken. It usually gives you a top 5. Sometimes history mode's a little funky as far as you won't necessarily get the top 1 through 5 players in here, but if we go to the 2000s at least, most of these are going to be 1 through 5. There's 1 through 6 there. But most of these are quite accurate as far as representing the drafts and all the players taken, and you can see just how drastically history has varied in this save just from a couple different picks. Furthermore, on this topic, we have award history too. So you can go through and see the history of every single award as far as who the winner is, who's won the most of that award, what their stat lines were in that season. The only thing it doesn't show is what team the player was necessarily on, but we'll get to the actual player cards as the next thing. Furthermore, when we go to records, the records are tracked properly, so it shows you a top 50 as far as who the top 50 players in any given historical stat line are, what their current stat is, and so on and so forth. You can even go down, it goes further as far as you can see the league records as far as who's had the most wins. In this save, the Oilers hit 134 points. Biggest losing streak has also been the Oilers with a 14-game losing streak back in 2016-17. So there's tons of, winning streak. As far as losing streak goes, St. Louis had it, my bad. But as far as history goes, this tracks it so much better, and it even offers upcoming milestones for every single player in the save. As far as somebody's getting close to 500 goals, you'll see their name right here, so on and so forth. It shows all of that if you want to take the time to look through it. Moving on to the actual player cards now. And when we talk about player cards, I'm talking about being able to go in and look at a player's career. So for the sake of this video, we're going to go look at, let's say, Vancouver, because they've got the Sedin twins. So you can go in and see a little bit further on as far as how their statistics go. It gives a full-blown player card on them, so you get all their statistics piled up in one, whether it be their offense, defense, and other stats, or if they have a family member, that is something we'll get to in a little bit. Their actual progression over your career mode save, their statistics throughout their entire career, also in history modes if players, or just any save, players that have been in the league already will have up-to-date stats. Those won't be an error in any kind, so you'll actually see that Sedin is pretty much right at a point per game. As far as his pace goes, and then it shows all of his milestones, his current jersey numbers, which I don't know why Sedin's wearing number 70. Sometimes the jersey numbers get a little screwy in there when it comes to history mode, but then you can see all their history too, as far as what contracts they've signed, where they were drafted, what awards they've won, and so on and so forth. Again, this player card looks very similar to kind of the NBA 2K style. You can go in and check out their playoff stats, their international appearances, and then of course also their contract history as far as how it's varied throughout their career, and then any injuries they might have had to date in this save. The next thing that makes Hockey Legacy Manager so much better than NHL is the ranking page. The ranking page will give you a top 50 or top 20, top 32, however many teams or players, depending on the statistic that the game is going to rank for you. So it'll give you team ranking, which is amazing because it shows your actual team overall rating, each of your main categories of offense, defense, goaltending, your average age, and then it also ranks it by the amount of cups won. So of course the teams that won the most cups in your save are going to end up at the top. The teams that are just the lowest overall and have the lowest amount of Stanley Cups will end up at the bottom. Of course, this also comes down to kind of like a win-loss record as well. All of those things are actually tracked in team ranking. Trade power is a fun one because if you go out and acquire a whole bunch of elite prospects, then you're going to end up right at the top of trade power. Like the Oilers, there was 66,000. On the opposite end, Vegas, who just expanded into the league in 2017, only has 19,000 trait power, so they're starting out right at the bottom. But this is a fun page as well because it can kind of give you a sense of just how stacked certain teams are. The prospect pool gives you a top 3 of every prospect, so then you can actually go in and click on specific prospects in this section. I believe maybe not, you might just be able to click on the teams here, but you can see who the top 3 prospects are. The next page over will actually give you a sense of how good those prospects actually are. You can actually see there's a none page on there. It doesn't happen too often that you don't have top 3 prospects, but Vegas currently only has 2 top prospects by the looks of it. Furthermore, those prospects will get ranked on a scale of 1 to 50 for top 50 based on the best players. So you can see that Urbe guy as our top prospect is a franchise player, but there's also lots of franchise players in this save. Again, we'll get to the settings here in a minute, but right now this is just the top 50 prospects in the league. You can see David Pasternak's in there. You can see Mikko Rantanen's in there. There's tons of different players that make this list, and again, you'll get bolded rankings for players that you actually managed to draft. Furthermore, award rankings will give you the number of awards a player has won. So if we click on Nicholas Backstrom's page, you can see his award breakdown. So he's been at 6. He's had 6 All-Star MVPs. He's had 3 Selkies, a Hart, an Argos, and a Rocket, which is crazy because you'd expect Ovechkin to win the Rocket. But I mean, when you score 64 goals in a season, yeah, there's a good chance you're going to win the Rocket. And then it'll show that history again as far as all the awards go down at the bottom. But this award page actually allows you to track who the best and most decorated players in the league are. Moving over a little bit further, you can see who's won the most Stanley Cups. So in this case, Brad Richardson has won the most Stanley Cups, which is hilarious because 3 cups in whatever, like 7 years is pretty fabulous. And then finally, the ranking page will give you an estimated career earnings based on how much money a player has made over their career. So you can see Alexander Ovechkin has an estimated value on his contract when we go to his contract page of wow, he was making $19 million in the first couple seasons. That's crazy. So that's why Ovechkin's got so much career earnings compared to other players on this list. The next thing we're going to look at when it comes to this game is the fact that hockey families are actually incorporated in this game this year. So you can see Alexander Ovechkin has a son in this particular save named Vasily Ovechkin. He's going to be 3 years old currently. He's projected to be a top 10 overall player. And then we could actually go in and even look at what draft year he's going to end up. So you'll see him right there, number 10. But there's tons of different players in here. If you look for any other common names, let's say Van Riemsdyk, we click on Eric Van Riemsdyk, you'll see his father is James, so you can go way ahead into the future when actually looking at the draft and find NHL players' children. Going a little bit further into that too, if we go back to, like, say the Canucks, you guys might have caught this earlier, you'll actually see that Daniel and Henrik Sedin are listed as brothers in the game. They show up on each other's player. Oh, sorry, they're not listed as brothers, but again, you can see their kids. Sometimes they are listed as family members, sometimes they're not. You could also go in and actually just edit this in the roster setting and make sure that they are listed as brothers. So there's, again, tons of opportunity for that. Building off of that last point, the extent of customizability in each save makes it so much more immersive because you can go and say you guys, or like say that you're having too many players develop into franchise players. You can turn on balanced prospect generation, which keeps an even number of top-end players in each category. Say you want players to progress a little bit older before they start to regress, you can adjust that all the way up to 40. You can change a whole bunch of settings. There's tons of different options in here. I recommend you guys download the game and go and actually play through and look at it yourself to become comfortable with it. It would take an hour-plus long video to actually go through all of this and show you guys every single step and setting, but the roster section in here is something that allows you to customize it even further. So like I just said, say we want to go and add the Sedins as brothers, you can go in and actually just add family members. So if we go related to, let me search other Sedins, if the game's going to let me search it. I don't even know what happened there. And then we click, Daniel Sedin. The relation to him is they're brothers. There unfortunately isn't twins, but that would be a cool setting, and then you can add that to the profile and update it. Something super fun and easy to do within your actual saves if you're looking to do that. Another part of this game that makes it so immersive and easy to play is the actual statistical details, as far as it will give you a rank on where your player's scoring has placed them for the season. So as you can see, this little number as far as what league position they are in overall scoring is going to give you a better sense of how well your players are actually doing in comparison to the rest of the league. While yes, of course, you can sort by the entire league here to go see that, oh, I don't know, this player named Travis Shannon, who looks like an absolute beast, and then Nicholas Backstrom were actually able to beat out Connor McDavid in the scoring race. You don't have to go flipping back and forth to actually do that. It makes it easier and just less complicated to see where your players are scoring within the entire league. Furthermore, another section that makes this game so much more immersive is there are actual tournaments in here. So you have a World Juniors that has each team ranked by division. You can go in and see all the actual information in the tournament, who the top scorers were, who won each game, who was able to, team by team get ranked the best and have the best record over the tournament. The World Juniors do also play an impact into youth player and prospect player development, which is awesome. Furthermore, we also have a World Cup tournament in here, which makes for an even more immersive experience with this game, because you can actually send your players away, or your players will get sent away at the beginning of the season to the World Cup, and then you'll see who the best nation in the game is. You can also even go in your settings when you're setting up your save and adjust. So say you want 10% of the players in the NHL to be from Great Britain. You can go and actually edit that, which, again, level of customizability in tournaments is also super cool. So for the 12th thing that makes this game so much more immersive is that there are actual leagues that you can go into and look at if you feel the need to. So say you want to see who the best WHL player coming up this season is, you can actually go in and do that. You can go in and look at the team stats. You can go and adjust from looking just at Brandon to looking at the entire WHL and say, hey, who was the best player? This guy had 148 points in 68 games. Is Hedlund actually drafted? You can go and look at that. Yes, he is. He's a 6'8" two-way forward on Minnesota. But you can work your way through this if you are trying to do fully immersive scouting, and you can find the best players in the game and try to go and actually get them. John Leonard, you can see, is actually in the WHL putting up crazy numbers. So the leagues and just the amount of flexibility and ability to go in and look. You can go look at the KHL. The KHL is in this game if you actually set your rosters up properly, which I will show you how to do in just a minute. But these are all available options for you in this game. And the final point I'm going to make on this game, if I haven't already sold you on at least checking this game out, is finally the price. And the price just comparison of the difference between buying an NHL game or a franchise hockey manager game compared to Hockey Legacy Manager. So currently, NHL 24 and franchise hockey manager, I believe it's 10 right now, are both going for around the $40 price point. If you go in and actually buy the pro version, which I've already done here as you can see, you get a ton of different just options and availability. You get unlimited seasons, you get unlock history mode, the expansion fantasy draft. This is the big one, is that you can get community rosters when you actually buy Hockey Legacy Manager 24 Pro. Furthermore, you get all the roster editing, customization, just you get everything essentially. And the craziest part about the pro version of this game is it's only $5. You can choose to donate more to the actual creator if you want to, but it's only $5 for the cost, which is absolutely crazy for how much more this game offers. And when you actually go into your rosters, you can even choose to use generated face packs so you don't have no face players in your game all the time. When you go into actually editing a roster, and let's say, one of your players' faces isn't there, if you're playing on PC or even on your phone, because this game is available on PC, Android and iOS. So if you are playing on any of those systems, you can actually go in and update player faces in your active roster once you've already downloaded a face pack, and it will update in all your current saves as well, which just makes this game so much more immersive because you can fully flesh out all the proper profile pictures on players. So when you actually go and look at them, you go, oh yeah, I'm making a proper connection to the real player's face for when they, either make the NHL or are going to make the NHL or so on and so forth. But that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this breakdown and comparison of what Hockey Legacy Manager has to offer for you as a career mode, manager mode, GM mode, hockey player as a customer. But that is it for this one. So again, if you enjoyed, show your support with a like, subscription, and hit the notification bell to never miss when I upload videos. But that is it for me. I will see you guys all in the next one.